Hi, I'm your host, Rick Sessinghaus, and excited to launch Flow Golf Podcast. Each episode, we will share stories, interview experts, and share cutting-edge strategies for peak performance. Here's my co-host, Hallam Morgan, to explain more about Flow Code Golf.
Thanks, Rick. Flow Code Golf is a framework of strategies, principles, and techniques that take us from fear to the state of flow, the state of optimal performance, and the zone where we play our best golf. You can find out more about Flow Code Golf at www.flowcode.golf. And I just want to finish up by saying this podcast is as much your podcast as it is ours. So please ask questions, provide feedback, and get engaged. I hope you enjoyed today's episode. Welcome back. We're back again for another Flow Golf podcast. I am super excited about today's episode. I know, Rick, we spoke a couple of episodes ago about coaching in the state of flow and how important that is for, yes, player development, but also from a business side, player retention as well, that lifelong relationship. And when we started to speak about that, you mentioned one person we had to bring on as a guest because you believed there's no one else that coaches more in flow than this man. So can you just give a heads up to the listeners on who that is and why we've brought this guy on?
You bet. Dear friend of mine, one of the best coaches I've ever been around, Mr. Josh Alpert. And why it's so important, and again, we're so thrilled to have Josh on, is to give his insights of his own coaching philosophy. But it's one thing to say, oh, that guy's a good coach, but you've actually never seen him coach. We see that a lot in the industry. Oh, he works with somebody, he must be a good coach. I have witnessed it in person watching him coach through last 15 years, whether it's a one-on-one, whether it's a group, whether it's this. And I marvel at the skill set when we talk about coaching and flow, being fully present, being engaged, having fun, the mindsets. He brings that every single time. And I've learned a lot, and I want to again pick his brain today, of how do coaches get more into flow, maybe outside of their comfort zone a little bit. And I think Josh has helped me understand how I can improve my coaching, my mindsets, and stuff along the way. So I am thrilled to have Mr. Josh Alpert today.
For sure.
Thank you.
Josh,
Thank you, guys.
Can you give a quick intro into just your story, your journey, before we then dive into the topic, just so the listeners know that?
And because I know you will joke with me, you want to give me some time parameters. How fast am I talking, and how much time? Is this a 45-second fast talk, a 30-second slow talk? What do you want here?
So whatever we want it to be, we should probably half that at least. So let's say you've got 10 seconds. Let's go.
Okay. And then here comes the breathing technique, so I can hold it for longer and just get the whole thing out on a breath. Folks, this is why you have to do your breathing stuff. Okay, so the general gist is I was not a golfer as a kid per se, like the coach who played high school golf, college golf, professional golf, and those things. I played baseball, basketball growing up. I played golf every so often, and when I did, it was with my grandfather. So the context for me of developing a relationship with the game was being a 10, 12-year-old kid with my grandfather at his golf courses with his club of guys, 20, 30, 40 guys playing ladder matches and different things. And so I was just immersed in a culture that was, yes, everyone was trying to be this amazing golfer, but these guys were old guys who couldn't hit it. It was messy and terrible. But the mindset was, my match is so important because Bob's trying to beat Dave, this, 30 handicap is trying to beat a 21 handicap, and they're arguing about who actually won, and they got points for like barkies and rakies. If you hit a tree and got a bogey, you got a point. I mean, just ridiculous stuff. So I think there was just something about being immersed in the world of golf that was really nothing about the quality of the golf, because there was none, and it was about the games that they were playing. So I think that sort of is something that would be a share of my involvement into the game. Competing, doing your best, always trying to beat the next guy, not wanting to give the guy the quarter versus the other guy give you the quarter. But what it was really about was camaraderie, and it was about all of the fun that was around it. So I think that surmises a lot of what I want to bring into my coaching, which is that we can, and maybe I would even argue should do both, which is offer a platform that is about learning. It is about absolutely excellence. It could be even about winning and those things that matter from the result side, but that we can actually achieve those things if we're willing to learn from experience, but also have fun and like try to do a better job of winning the game as a mentality versus worrying why you didn't win the last one is just, I think, the platform for where not only we get better, but we want to stay and keep going. And I think that's obviously important as well.
Right. Yeah, what I've always appreciated with you, Josh, is when we become golf coaches, golf instructors, golf teachers, whatever you want to frame it, is I think we're thrown into teaching people fundamentals and their golf swing positions, which of course we need to do. But I have found that as coaches get older and more experienced, I think they get into their own biases and ruts of, well, yeah, I got to teach this, I got to teach this, and they lose some of the fun and some of the experimenting. I think when we're young coaches, we experiment with different things. But what I've always appreciated with you is you bring a liveliness and a freshness to your coaching. That could be everything from using metaphors to games to drills. But overall, yes, competition is a part of that. But you create a very safe environment for competition, if that makes sense. So, what would you say, like, kind of your philosophy? I'm sure it's evolved, but I think, as we always say jokingly, is you're always a 7-year-old at heart, and just you're in an adult body, and that has stayed the same, which I've always appreciated.
Hallam, do you want to pile on there real quick first
I
before?
had a few things that came into my mind, but I don't want to ruin the flow of the conversation. So
Yeah,
we'll
no,
save them.
probably.
We'll save them
That's
up and
probably good.
deliver them all.
A lot of different ways to go here. I think a philosophy that I really feel is really important for coaches to ponder is, can I create an experience for the player without giving them too much information before they have the experience, so that I have the ability to see how they handle it? So actually what ends up happening is I almost end up learning first as a coach. And I think it's sort of, and if I'm throwing the macro up on the wall kind of assess, the concept of seek to understand, that it's, oh, someone's coming into a lesson with me. It must be me, the expert, giving them a whole bunch of information. That's what this is about. And actually what ends up happening is, and this could work with, I worked with an elite high school player who, you guys know without names, flew out from China to do some really intensive technical work, or that's what she thought she was going to be doing with me for the last several days. Or a group of 15 to 20 handicaps in a small group, and we're working on a chipping lesson, or a group of kids that are going to participate in some activity. It doesn't really even matter so much the level or the age. If I can say, all right, guys, here's the chipping game. This is what I want you guys to do. And the start of it wasn't, Coach Josh is going to tell you a bunch of stuff about do this, do this, do this, do this. It's, here's the game. Here's the station. Let me set the setting for you. I'm going to show you the deal. Here's the game. You're going to take 2 wedges, and I want you to hit 3 balls with each wedges. And the game is, 1 ball has to go lower and medium and higher. And the goal is to get the ball into that hoop. You guys go ahead and go. Let's see which one of you can get the ball to do these 2 or 3 things, whatever it would be. And then I step back without any help or assistance, and I observe, what are those players going to do? Do they even grab the club right? Josh is now assessing. Is setup, just, is physical gripping a club going to be something we talk about? Because I don't know yet. Are they making swings that are totally the wrong size? Are they sticking the club in the ground? What are their tension levels? Are they concerned about the fact that they're in a group setting and there's other people? So are they externally scared and distracted by I'm going to just watch and go, how much of this is technical? How much of this is positional? How much of this is club selection? How much of this is comfort in an environment? But I get to watch and learn as an instructor, where do I want to go with the next step based on what I'm watching these people do. So if that sort of makes sense,
Yeah.
Love that.
It's easier for me to figure out where is the lowest hanging fruit because I actually got to watch it versus me saying, I'm the expert, this is what we're doing, and do these things. It's better for them and it's better for me if I seek to understand in an experience where I can then shape the experience versus start from zero, if that makes sense.
Complete sense. And I think along the lines of experience, I like you're creating an experience. We as coaches can learn from them just as much as they're learning from us.
Oh,
I
absolutely.
I have I'm not going to say I have an identical philosophy to you because I'm but I do want to put somebody in a position to see how they make decisions and stuff like that. And they come back and sometimes their decision was much better than what I would have ever posed. Once I learn, like, how did you do that? And they go, I did this. I go, wow, I never thought about that. And that's actually better than me as the instructor or the coach. So we let the artist come out in them and we don't judge it, right? But they're there to get improvement. So I just love that framing of that.
Yeah.
I love as well. I love as well, Josh, how you put them straight into a performance scenario to actually start to assess them as a full athlete from mind, body, and also technical skills. Because I think if you had a room of coaches and you said, how many coaches here, raise your hands if you've watched your golfers in a performance setting more than 3 times. And I think, I don't know, but my assumption would be there would be very few hands in the air if that was the case. But what you're actually recreating, and I know it's not always possible, right? You can't always go and watch every single golfer play in tournaments and see how they react. But what you're creating is almost a bridge, an opportunity to put them in some stress, put them in some moments where they may feel some pressure, heart rate increase, grip pressure tight, and to see how they manage that. How does that impact their swing and technique? How does that impact all these other components? So then you're looking at it not just as, oh, I best fix that technical component, but you're looking at it, oh, there's an opportunity here to help develop skills to manage pressure, manage stress, and perform better in moments where it matters most. So I love that as well. I think it's a really powerful way of assessing the player.
Yeah, and if you and again, and these are the micro things, and I know like we're talking to coaches here, when you've done this a long time, it's a lot easier to just have an idea and a thought versus stick to a structured plan. So there's sort of this, you know, and I'm just saying this is the flip of it. Let's just say in that scenario, this is the learning and this is the observer. So from a mindset standpoint as a coach, having an observer mindset, really paying attention to what's going on, not just technically, but feel wise. If I've got a group of 4 ladies and they're doing a thing, and I really noticed that the fact that I laid that game out really stressed a couple of them out because they had performance anxiety in front of other people, then one of the things we might jump into immediately was I'm going to pull them off and we're going to talk about what happened to you when I put you in that environment. I'll literally directly move directly into, we're going to do a breathing exercise and I'm going to get you into, and if we get into the DCE loop of these things in any way, here's why before you even pull the club out of your bag, framing the situation is so important because I gave you a directive and you did these things. Let's not talk about how to chip the ball better because I know that none of those were very good. Let's talk about who you were walking into that moment. And let's talk, Diane, what happened to you when I did that? And we share our experience of tension and shoulders. And one might say, I was so concerned I thought I was going to hurt somebody. Another one was like, I just didn't want to look stupid. And then another one was like, Josh, I don't know how to hold the club. Like whatever they were, we can then honor and acknowledge that we're going to now defuse this situation. And maybe I can now say, hey, let me reframe. This is a learning environment, no wrongs. You are safe here. I don't care if you mess up. This isn't about results. This is about learning. Let's take a breath. And maybe I can defuse the tension in the room. But if I diffuse it after there was tension, then the diffusing is going to feel different to them. So you literally could have why taking a deep breath and softening your shoulders before you do something, which could be before you hit the chip or before you walk into the classroom out of the car to get to the chip shot, is so important. And then it has meaning because they, again, had an experience. So I don't know. Those things are deeper in the, oh, I get that versus here, just put your hands here and chip it lower.
For sure. For sure.
Right. Go ahead, Alan.
No, I was gonna ask Josh. So something that keeps popping up in my conversations recently, and I really wanted to ask this on this podcast episode. More and more coaches, I think, are finding challenges in engaging junior golfers in particular. I mean, any sport, but if we go golf specific, keeping them engaged, keeping them focused to actually help them obviously get better, but also be involved in the sport more. And I think that's worldwide. Attention, their ability to pay attention is reducing. Kids' focus is getting worse. They're getting more distracted. All of these components. So from your experience, how are you continuing to engage your junior golfers when you do a camp or when you do it in groups? How are you keeping them engaged? So they're focused on the task, they're paying attention, and they're actually getting better. Because I think that's a question so many coaches would want to ask you, because I think it's a challenge that so many are facing.
Yeah. So, and obviously a lot of dynamics here that probably are going to be difficult for this, which is, let's just say I have 24 kids.
Yeah.
And I have 3 different groups of 8. And within those groups of 8, I have 2 activities. So I would really have, so some of this is just the actual architect of the space.
Yep.
But if I now have, let's just say 4 kids for this example. So if it was 24, we really broke it down into one group of 4 kids. I'm now an instructor and I'm working with 4 kids. It just gets multiplied out. Can I have 2 or 3 different putting games or challenges laid out? So there's some variety, there's something different, they're well thought out. So this is, again, what I'm putting in front of them is important. But if also from a time standpoint, because of what we know about attention spans and things, if I have a 30-minute station and I have 3 10-minute stations or 3 8-minute stations, because I know I'm going to jump in a couple of different times and create rotations, I now have 4 kids participating, maybe even 2 by 2, whatever, but they're in a game for 5 or 6 minutes doing something that I've described. Here's the game, here's the challenge. If you guys could accomplish this, I'm going to come the last 1 minute of this station and I'm going to give you the test. And if you can pass the test, you're going to win a prize. You got 3, 4, 5 minutes here. You guys do the best you can to prep. This is now prep space. Go ahead and experience, do the best you can. No one's watching, no one cares. Get as good at it as you can, because I've got prizes coming. Now I've got them for 5 or 6 or 7 minutes involved in something, not 20, 30, 40 minutes of chipping with no real thing, because that's just a disaster. And they know a test is coming or a prize is coming. So they're motivated by the gift, the dangling present that they get to open. I'm only asking them to do it for 5 or 6 or 7 minutes. And I might set up the one parameter, which might be, by the way, here's how you win the prize. Okay, ready for this one? Chipping class 101 with 7-year-olds. If you, when I say go, stand behind your golf ball and take a breath before you walk into the ball, you get a point. If you set up and you take 3, not 4, Hallam, not 2, not 0 if we're counting goals on the average football game, but you get 3 swings. If your club can physically touch the grass on all 3 of those swings, you get a second point. If you then step up to the golf ball and your ball goes up in the air at all because you swept the grass, you get the 3rd bonus point. If you get 3 points when I come back over to here, you're going to win a prize. Johnny, tell me the 3 ways that you can get a point. Were they listening? Were they paying attention? Do they have a clue what I just said? Option 2, if Johnny's like, dude, no idea, I was picking my nose, which is entirely possible, I will now offer teammate, would someone else in here, did anybody get what I just said? That's a game. Oh, I'm the one who remembers. It was stand behind the ball, take a breath, 3 practice swing, sweep, and then try to get the ball to go up in the air. 3 things. Awesome. By the way, you just got something cool for being the person that listens. Nice job. Not beating you up for being the knucklehead picking your nose, by the way, because you were, but awesome that the other person picked you up. So every moment could be I'm rewarding attention, not penalizing lack of attention. But the lack of attention can learn from the attention. Okay? Sorry, I'm going to go on a diatribe here. That little moment I just did right there is synonymous with don't get mad at yourself for hooking the ball out of bounds, but reward yourself for the ball that you hit rhythmically into the thing. At 7 or 8 years old, the analogy or the experience of whatever it is, there's a game, do you know the game, and do the best you can at the game. That's it. Now, if I did that same exact thing in 7 minutes in 1 or 2 or 3 different activities, after day 2, they're expecting me to give them, they're waiting for me to tell them the thing. Now, the first day was messy, the second day was a little better, whatever, but we're now training a culture of there's a game, the game's going to be pretty fun, the game's not going to take too long, there's probably going to be some prizes involved, I'm going to challenge you at some things, I'm going to keep you off your toes. And if that is sort of the basis of the thing, then the kid is looking forward to coming back. Does that make?
Oh yeah.
Unbelievable. I love it. I love it. Go on, Rick.
No, I want to kind of dovetail a little bit into what I think is more you mentioned kind of like an architect and structure, yet within that, I think you're great at improvising. So if we looked at good comedy, right, you can write out a script, but the greatest of the greatest, the Robin Williams of the worlds, they're improvising in the moment. And part of why I want to go with that is one, it's fun, but as a coach, open yourself up to improvising and being in the moment and experiencing it with your students, and it shows the vulnerability on your side. I think sometimes we make it so damn serious of what we're doing, that I think that gets lost in, like, wait a second, it's back to you mentioned the experience. Can I provide an experience where they leave, an hour later, they go, wow, that was fun.
Yeah.
We know that that's going to lead to better learning because we've all said that learning is state dependent. I want more of that, right? They're linking the experience. Did they learn some stuff? They look back and they go, yeah, but man, did that feel good? And I want more of that. And I want to, the old adage, we're growing the game of golf. Okay, you go see Josh give a lesson, you'll understand what growing the game of golf means, because the experience of golf now is looked at such a fun, you mentioned challenge and competition, all these things that are going to help them in life. So the improvisation part of it, as coaches, I think we can do a better job of being just open to whatever happens in that moment, instead of, oh, we got to do this drill every time for our takeaway drill. It's like, so I think that's what I've learned a lot from you also.
Yeah. And Rick, from your perspective, how does a coach get to that position where they feel confident enough to do that? Because that does require a certain element of confidence, because there's also that fear in people's mind, that doubt of, okay, this person's coming to pay me, they're paying me money, I need to get them a result. So how do I let go and trust and surrender to just like, let's allow a little bit of freedom to go with the flow and see what happens, when also trying to make sure you give a result?
Yeah, and I think exactly. I think Josh would agree is that we still want to give them a result. We want them to be better golfers and hit the ball up in the air and
Absolutely.
shoot or score, right? We're just coming from a standpoint of, if you want to look at accelerating a learning process, is that coaches need to be more aware that the state of the student is going to be vital. The state of the coach is going to be vital for that learning to accelerate. Okay, it's pouring the gasoline on the fire more, and Josh is the best I've ever seen at doing that. Is that there's an experience of this little fire, but he's putting more of this fuel on it, and before you know it's this inferno, and people are like, yeah, this is awesome, right? But I think sometimes us coaches, we get so structured in, oh, we got to do this drill, we got to do this, and there's barely any kindling happening, right? And so I think, and this will say, and I know this is through experience too, is when we have confidence in our ability, I think we can take more risks sometimes, because we go, we're damn good, we know what we're doing. But part of that is because we know that if we connect with our students and we have an experience with them, that's actually more important than the actual position of the swing. So again, I could go on a sidetrack on that, but I don't know what you feel about that, Josh. We want to give them a great result, but
For
you and
sure.
I have both seen that those results get accelerated when we help them in a safe space, we challenge them, we make it fun. And then if you, and this is some feedback that's been given to me, and I know Josh too, is when you're so passionate about it. So as coaches, when you're passionate about it, they go, well, if they really care this much, this must be something good. And I see that when you coach, I feel like I do that very well also, is that I get so excited about the mental game. I get so excited, they go, wow, if he's so damn excited, I get best like pay attention. And I think some coaches get in a rut and they're just, it's a transactional exercise in a way.
For sure.
No, I mean, 100% agree. And I think, I guess, like you said, the confidence to do it and also the trust to do it is the learning and the getting better. First of all, it takes time. You're not going to just miraculously fix somebody in 5 minutes who's doing things. And then it's also in the short term of it, I'll give some lessons where you do some, fix a grip by all means. I mean, if you're a golf instructor out there and you can't put somebody's hands on the club or understand the difference of how hands on a golf club matters in a golf swing, then you got to be better at understanding those things. Because if I've got somebody whose grip is messy, and we don't alter some of those things, I can talk till I'm blue in the face. I'm not going to be able to help them. No different if you were a walking coach and somebody's foot's angled 40 degrees out to the left and you're trying to get them to walk down a straight line and their hip keeps doing this big arcing swinging thing because they're trying to walk, when all you had to do was go, man, dude, if you could just get your toes facing forward and your knees facing that way and just kind of, try to make this motion that way instead of this motion, like, man, you'd really be an incredible walking coach. I mean, there's some super low hanging technical fruit that we don't have to go crazy with. Just, man, could we just stay in these parameters? It's going to be so much easier for you to do. So yes, technical moments, get into the frame. But once you're in the frame, experience, if I've got to dive in on a moment and do something a little bit more, it'll be because I saw it and I had an opportunity to do it as a coach, not because I was just going to just crush them over the head with it. And then I would also encourage to sometimes showing. This is sort of, and maybe as an early coach, noting, I would like to try to make sure that there's a percentage of my instruction that I'm saying. There is a percentage of my instruction that I'm showing. We know that people learn differently. There are some kids that you'll work with in camps where you show them a couple of drills and exercises, and the kid just grabs the club and just goes in, and it's incredible because their learning style is that. So I would put, like, on a side note as an instructor, I need to know, this is Josh in the car before I come to the lesson. I want to make sure that I remember to show some of the things of me doing myself, show them my routine, show them me thinking through a thing, show the motion of a practice swing so they can see it versus just explaining, because I'm now able to help other people learn in their lane. That's a tangent, but it's something to just kind of add to the thing. How can I be a better coach is how I'm delivering as much as what I'm delivering.
For sure.
Definitely.
One thing I would suggest, though, Rick, is that you don't do that, because we don't want people replicating your golf swing. So we just have to be careful on who we recommend do that, Josh. In Rick's case, we definitely don't want that to happen. So, but no,
well, I mean,
for
they can't
some coaches.
Yeah, they can't get into the positions I can get into. I mean, it's one of
they're
those
impressive.
things. You know,
They're impressive.
we think Rory McIlroy's hip speed. We think my lack of rotation on the way back. They kind of go
Similar.
back and forth.
Similar.
All right, everybody. Here's how you hit a little 220 cut slicey driver into the right rough. Watch this.
But if you own that, right, you can still get around that golf course.
I love it. I love it. So both of you spoke about, and we're all in agreement that creating an experience for the student, like having fun, playfulness, creativity. So they finish that lesson, they go, wow, how much fun was that? I was in a flow state. I was present. I was enjoying it. They come back, they keep learning. So when you finish, let's say a group camp for now, right? Because I know a lot of coaches work with juniors in camp format. How do you always finish? Is there a certain way you finish a camp to ensure that they go away with, because that's the final piece of it, right? How do I leave them excited, really looking forward to the next one? Is there a certain thing you do each time at the end of a camp that someone
Yeah,
can...
definitely. I think yes. And these are big moments. And again, this is, if you're more advanced with this, you can stage some of these things. So for example, and whatever, let's call it our summer camps, right? So you got 7 to 12, 7 to 13-year-old kids, 24 of them. They were there for 3 hours. They're coming back tomorrow. They're there. Our summer camps are 5 days, 3 hours, morning, afternoon session. So we've got 48 kids a day. 24 for 3 hours. So we're at the last 7 minutes and parents are getting ready to pick everybody up. So you might have a situation where it's like, 1, 2, 3, go. We've got some game. How fast can everybody get together? By the way, which is pretty cool because I do some whistle and do something. Now I had to work on it through the week, but it's like the kids ran and got on one knee and got ready to go. And you're like, oh my God, freaking who's the, like Caesar Milan or what, who's the guy that's like, the
Yeah, the
dog's
dog
all
whisperer. The dog whisperer.
like,
Yeah,
my
yeah.
dog never does that at home. Like, what the hell was that? Right. But like, so you get everybody together. Opportunity, obviously, the goal and objective is to talk to the kids, but you also could have parents watching it so that there is an email later that can just say, hey, parents, I just wanted to let you know, super important that we did this and we did this for a reason. And I want you to know why we did this. So you're educating the parents on what you're doing. That kind of thing is low hanging fruit. Parent trust understands you're thinking higher level. The moment is to get everybody together and do a couple of it's sort of the shout out things. I loved the way, and I know that this is going to be, none of you saw this. And first of all, I want to thank Coach Jackson. Okay, here's staff acknowledgement. Coach Jackson actually mentioned this to me, so I wouldn't have known this at all. But Coach Jackson pulled me aside because he was he saw a really cool moment he wanted to share with me. So Jackson, thank you for sharing it. I have just now complimented a coach and encouraged them to tell me some things that are going on. I now have tighter control over my staff. Had nothing to do with it, but it had everything to do with it. That was a moment that occurred because I was intelligent enough to do it. Secondly, Susie, you were in the chipping station. You were out of golf ball. You were, had 4 golf balls left in your chipping station, and you took your last 2 balls and you gave them to Maya because she was struggling, so she got to do 2 more before the chipping station. That was really, really cool of you because I know you were doing a great job of chipping, and you are. And Maya, I know we kind of need a few more. Don't worry, you're going to get in a couple days. But super cool that you would give her your last 2 balls, knowing she wanted to hit 2 more. I really, really love that you did that. That was super, super cool. If I'm in a situation where I've got a couple golf left, Maya, I want to let you know I'm giving you a couple balls if you do that. That was awesome. What happened in that moment with 24 kids?
Yeah. Well, I mean, I witnessed what you've done, and they're now looking at it as, wow, my behaviors and my processes were being rewarded, not just a result. And
Rick, you don't share enough. You need to share more like Maya. You need to do more. It wasn't about it, but everyone had an opportunity to listen that someone got rewarded for something cool that was just about being a good human being. And it wasn't in the moment, and it wasn't punishing, and it wasn't, it was just that. Johnny, shot of the day. Oh my gosh, guys, Johnny gets the full swing award today. It was awesome. He bombed him. But, and here comes the recap that I would use with an elite player playing out of a tournament. And Rick, you taught this to me, and I go, did you have fun? Tell me something you did really, really well in your game. Tell me something that you learned. Tell me something that needs work. Johnny hit the most amazing drives today. It was awesome. But here's what I loved most. Every time I watch Johnny pound a drive, and he's our driver of the day, everyone give him a hand. Dun, 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 wah, right? Everyone's like, ah, and we're doing the thing. It was amazing how balanced Johnny was. I've been working for a long time. I'm gonna go to sleep tonight wondering, how was Johnny so balanced? Gosh, he was balanced. You know what? We're doing a balanced game tomorrow. Well, let's see who tomorrow's balanced champion is. What just happened? Every kid's going to go in the car and go, God, if I could just be balanced like Johnny. I'm teaching them what I want to teach them through rewards, through stories that had nothing to do with the moment. This is 2.5 hours after it happened. Can I reward the culture's human behavior, picking up trash, being nice to people, being courteous, fixing a divot, holding the finish on a putt, holding the fit, whatever it is, I'm just going to reward the things I want, and they will go figure out how to do it. I don't be consistent in those ways. And it might take years. I hate saying it that way, but the kids keep coming back to our camp, and I've watched enough. I've done this long, and there's a kid who I'm telling you, Rick, I would say that kid is never going to play golf well. It's awful.
Yeah.
And
when did Hallam go to your camp?
you killed my story. I was going to tell him the name at the end. This English kid who just parents dropped him off for some tea and crumpets. But like, what I'm telling you is even to improvement happen beyond my ability to comprehend when you just let them play and didn't
Right.
get in the way. So
Right.
hard to do, I get it, but that's where I'm telling parents, you gotta not watch the minute by minute. If they're having fun, if they want to come back, if they're enjoying it, then the plants will grow. There's sun and water. Just let them grow.
And I want to double down on that last part because you and I have done, flow code events together for juniors, and I think something that you've done in your normal camps and our flow code is at the end we want parents to be there for the last 10, 15, 20 minutes and to view what their child is experiencing, these questions that you ask out there, the rewards, the acknowledgments. And then the other fun part is that you and I have done some competitions at the end. It might be the craziest 60-foot putt with triple break or whatever,
Yeah.
and you and I are competing with the kids, and they see this, and I'm saying the parents see this and go, wow, that's different. I am so happy that my kid got to experience this. You and I are both parents. We have our kids. We would love that. Go, oh my gosh, they got to spend time in this energy today. And so I think that's the other thing that coaches out there open it up to the parents to at least see some of this so they also can acknowledge, oh, gosh, Coach Josh really is big into character and focus. Oh, maybe I need to highlight that more when we drive home from a tournament, right? So I think that's the other thing that coaches need to do that you do just a wonderful job with is getting the parents involved enough without too much so they can see what their children are going through. I think is also a key.
For sure.
Yep.
Josh, how many pizzas have you had to buy over the years
Oh God, I'm
when you
so
put
bad.
pizzas on the
It's
line?
awful. The kids, they joke because we get into these like games and challenges, and now I'm indoor simulated space stuff, combination of on golf course and obviously at my indoor studio. But I'll be like, all right, if anybody can knock 5 20-footers in a row, they win a prize or something like that, And there's one putting station that's 20-footers, and they're just like everyone wants to just. I'm like, guys, there's a lot of other stuff to do, like. And then one kid will make 4 in a row, and he's like, I'm on 5, and we all come around and we watch the 5th putt. And I've had classes that I was negative financially because I end up buying pizzas for kids. It's just, but it's fun,
I
man.
remember
But
I
it's
remember
fun.
when I came out to LA and I landed that day and I came to a camp with you that evening.
Yeah, yeah,
And it
that's
was that
right.
night and we finished up and you sat them down, had that chat and you said, right guys, one more game to finish up. We're all gonna get around the green, we're all gonna hit a putt into this hole. And if we get one person holds it, everyone's getting pizza. And they were like, yeah. And I think 2 of them hold it. And it was like,
Yeah, and then 2 of them hold it. I was just like,
what?
no pizza, no pizza. I said if one of them holds it.
But it was like, how on earth that
All right,
happened?
guys.
They're all hitting like 30-foot putts, and we had 2
Yeah.
hole it, and it was just like that level of excitement and like creativity and the joy and the fact that, and you've told this analogy so much and so well, Josh, like you get home and there's a present on the table, and like how do you feel when there's a present, you see it's got your name on it, and you want to unwrap it, and the excitement and the joy and the looking forward to it, like that part of it. We want to create that same feeling when someone approaches a golf shot. And what you did when I saw you do that putting game at the end was exactly that. They're like, oh, I can't wait to hit this putt. Like, this is going to be so fun. I can't wait. And that energy puts people into a state where we know they perform their best. So I think that's so powerful what you do there as well.
And so thank you. That was fun, and I remember that. That was totally cool. But here, but and this is what we talk about, right? So in that moment, what was learned, and this is now let's go frame back, Rick. We're talking about now working with PGA Tour players. Let's talk about working with elite juniors, elite golfers, elite players. So those that I work with that are college players, and we're now talking about winning and losing tournaments, and results do quote unquote matter more. That exact same experience in that light would be what happened to you when I gave you that 30-footer for pizza. Where
Yes.
were you at? What were you experiencing? What were you focused on? how dialed in were you? How much did you want to make that putt? But not want to make it for the wrong reasons, want to make it for the right reasons. You were going after success. You were thinking of winning the prize. You weren't, oh my God, if I miss this 30-footer, we don't get pizza. It was, I'm going to be one of the guys who makes it. And you're in such a space of flow. I want my college, I literally will take college players in the same thing and go, okay, here's the game we're going to do. If you get this one in, I'm going to, I know this, Rick, I'm sorry about this. Talk to Adidas. I'm going to somehow get you some shoes and hopefully you got my shoe size, right? Like whatever. But like, I want you to really, really hit these shots as if it was just for the love of hitting these shots like you were a kid. And then when you get out onto that tournament and it's the first fairway, it's not the first fairway in a tournament. This is a junior camp. You're the college kid hitting in front of a bunch of kids. If you knock this ball into the middle of the fairway, all those kids win a pizza. Dude, you have a chance to be a hero right now. How fun is this going to be? Just step up, look at the middle of the fairway and hit the fairway for the kids. Like that's so different of a place to be than, oh my God, if I miss my first fairway. How do we use mindsets like we talk about all the time, but is there an experience out there that I can relate to when I was my most joyful that I can use as my, preemptive moment into a moment? Let's create those moments.
Correct. And as we finish up here, I think you said it very important. What you just said is that as coaches, I think sometimes we get locked into, I need to get a result today. I need the club to be in a certain position for a student, instead of what mindset would I want to produce today? What mindset could I have somebody anchor that they can take to their junior tournament or their member guests? And I think that just looking at it from that lens, I think back to the experience changes. And I think let's get better experiences. Let's use mindsets and processes and behaviors as the lead. And yes, the skill sets will follow instead of the opposite. So I think that's awesome.
Yeah. Some combo of both.
Josh, thank you so much. That was unbelievable. I think there's so much value in there for coaches to take away. So I hope the listeners enjoyed it too. We're going to have to do this again at some point. We're going to have to jump back on. As much as I hate to say it, I think that was a worthwhile 30, 40 minutes. And we might have to spend some more time together. So
right.
I'll put
Do I get a blue screen? Did I do good enough to get a blue screen, or do I still
green
screen guy? Do you gonna level me up or what?
We'll see. We'll give you an opportunity. We'll set a game for you and we'll see if you can succeed. And if you succeed, you can be the hero and you can get the blue screen. How about that?
What's the game? Let's play.
What's the game? The game is, I want to see you. No, I'm joking. Right. We'll figure that out and we'll present that on the next one. And the start of the next podcast with you will be a game. And that game will decide whether you get blue screen or green screen. How about that?
Perfect. Thanks, guys. Appreciate you both tremendously.
Thank you. Appreciate it. We'll see you soon.